How's it going, ding dongs? Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while, I haven't been really uploading, but mostly because this, I mean, just look at this. Look at the weather. We got a lot of snow. It's been really cold, it's been snowing a lot, and I don't really have much to do to the car right now because, like I said before, previous videos, everything I want to do now is very expensive. Gotta save up so I can do the things that I want to do to this car. If you're new to the channel, this is the Flying Nimbus. It is the star of the show, and it's a 1992 SC400 with a 2005 G35 CD09 transmission in it. It is using the Collins kit, which I don't recommend because, first of all, the flywheel didn't fit. I had to sand the inside hole where it attaches to the crank. That didn't fit. The drive shaft rusted in 1 week from sitting in my garage floor. The transmission mount is floppy. The whole transmission shakes when I'm drifting. Collins only makes the adapter. They don't make any other parts. The flywheel comes from somebody else. The drive shaft comes from somebody else. Everything is outsourced. I have no idea where it comes from, so kind of whack. The shifter isn't assembled because I'm building a new one. If you've seen on Instagram, I'm making a forged carbon shifter. So this is the original shifter for the transmission right here. That's the CD09. As you can see, it goes really far back. Most people, what they do is they buy a shifter that relocates it closer so it kind of lines up with the hole that used to be here. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to spend $300 on something I'll never see. It'll just sit under the car, so I thought I'd make my own. So way back, I made this shifter adapter. So this screws onto here, this screws onto here, and then this attaches between the two. And when you move, you know, because they're both connected, this stays rigid and allows me to put the shift knob further forward. That was cool and all. It worked. It was perfect. No problems. It had a little bit of wobble to it because it's plastic. Tolerances weren't that great, but it worked fine for a year or two. But now I'm making it out of forged carbon fiber, so that'll be a video coming up. Power-wise, not much done. Just a stock 1UZ with powder-coated valve covers. It has a My Wire Shop engine harness with Audi R8 coils, a Link Monsoon X ECU. I don't know how much power it makes right now because when I went to the dyno, it wasn't working, so no power figures, but it rips pretty good. Got super radiator with 05 GTO electric fans. I made this intake. It was very easy. Just bought a 90 elbow there. Bought this 45 and a K&N air filter. And then I made this little bracket here that attaches it so it doesn't wobble a bunch. Idle air valve is deleted. I just cracked the throttle body open just a tiny little bit. I don't think that will work with a stock ECU, but it works with a Monsoon X pretty well. As you can see, the car idles just fine. Excessive power steering line. The knuckles are modded by me. You can see the knuckles are shortened, so I got way more steering angle. And you need to plug that speed sensor hole. The coilovers, I have no idea what they are. They came with the car. They're pink. They have nothing on them. No markings, absolutely nothing. The car used to be black. I painted it yellow in my garage. You can still see the floor is pretty yellow in there. Supra, big brakes. MB Battle wheels. Those are my drift spares. Those are Cobra Reps 97 skirts. It's got Manzo mufflers. Sounds pretty good. The trunk is cut out. Trunk's cut out for weight reduction, bro. Interior is totally gutted with Buddy Club seat rails. Super rigid. Definitely recommend those. NRG seats, absolute garbage. Status wheel I got for $30 on clearance. Awesome. GT3, Speedway Motors, GT3 style quick release with collapsible shaft. Excessive pedal, clutch pedal. And that's the ECU Master PMU16 PDM. So the car has 0 fuses or relays in it. It runs entirely off of the PDM back there. CAN keyboard right here controls the whole car, so fans, headlights, turn signals, underglow, wipers, yeah. Everything is done right there. I am gonna move some stuff around. I like to move the turn signals somewhere near the steering wheel here because it's kind of annoying pressing it over there. Can't really see it. And then usually it has the tablet here, which has all the diagnostics from the ECU through CAN, so it's instant. There's no delay at all. It's directly wired into the tablet through this little box here. It's too cold for the tablet right now, so I just keep it inside the house for now. Battery in the trunk, or in the back seat here, fire extinguisher. Yeah, besides those things, that's just stock, basically. Not much going on with it. The quarter windows are plexiglass. Well, actually they're acrylic, but it sucks. I'm gonna replace these. And there's NACA ducts, which actually work really well. I was surprised at how well they work. So one is pulling air in, and then the other one is pulling air out. And it actually cools the car a lot. Ding Dong Drift stickers now available at dingdongdrift.com. Oh yeah, the wideband in it is a Innovate. It's a dual wideband for both banks. So yeah, she's a ripper. Here's some things I also got lined up for it. So solid subframe and diff bushings, or I don't know what you call them. Yeah, bushings, I guess. Solid subframe mounts. So whole rear end is going to get solidified. Back there in the pile of parts, I also have a LS430 diff that I got from Tyler. That will have much better gearing, 323 instead of a 392. Because first gear on the CD09 with this diff is absolutely terrible. Got a new welder, so some TIG welding stuff is coming. Got my old welder there. Got a bench grinder finally. So a little more fabrication is coming. The whole point of this car is just a full-on race car. So it's going to get tube frame front end, tube rear end, roll cage, full just race car. It's going to have full firewall in the back, get rid of the rear windshield entirely, do a rear mount radiator like right here, so we'll have like a flying buttress looking thing, big scoop here, giant wing, crazy diffuser on the rear. Yeah, wide body. I got crazy plans for this car, especially now that I'm starting to work with carbon fiber. The whole wide body, all the panels, everything's going to be replaced with carbon fiber. So yeah, I got big plans for the car. And hopefully I'll be able to reproduce these parts pretty good quality, so I'll be able to sell you guys, you know, carbon wide body, fenders, hood, everything. So not many people know this, but almost all carbon fiber parts for the SC are not actually carbon fiber. They're the cheapest of the cheap chopped strand fiberglass with a single layer of carbon on top. It is the shittiest carbon fiber you could possibly buy. I've never seen a real carbon hood on, or any other panel on an SC. Cybon is the same. D-Max, which is my hood, terrible quality. This whole hood is completely fiberglass with a single layer of carbon fiber on top. Like, you can even see it. Look, that's chopped fiberglass. It's trash. Real carbon fiber parts are really rare to find, especially for a car like this that isn't very popular. But I'm gonna make them. You know, we'll also do the Ricer stuff, LED taillights, LED headlights, all the 3D printing goodies and everything, so lots of cool stuff coming. Hydro e-brake, of course. I got something cool planned for that. I'm gonna use the stock e-brake with a little cable to actuate the hydro. It's gonna be sweet. Now that everyone's caught up on the flying Nimbus, let's answer some questions. So I left a little poll, or not poll, a little question thing on Instagram. And if you ask the question, I'm gonna answer it right now. Before we get started, make sure you check out dingdongdrift.com/merch. Got hoodies, got t-shirts, stickers like you saw on the car. So let's get started. Why don't you like the Collins adapter? I already talked about it outside. Ever doing any 2JZ stuff? Only way I'll do any 2JZ stuff is if it falls in my lap. If I get like a super cheap SC300 for $500, sure, why not? I'll do an NET build or something. 2J just doesn't interest me that much. It's played out. Everyone has done a 2J. What will be coming up in the future for Ding Dong Drift? Well, a lot of stuff. So SC is gonna, this year, just take on a whole nother level. It's gonna get, like I mentioned, all the stuff that's gonna be done. And then I also want to get a truck, either a Sequoia or a Tundra, something with a 2UZ, maybe something newer with a 2UR. Depends on what I can get. I like Sequoias though. I feel like they're underappreciated. Like nobody has a Sequoia. There's like nothing, nobody talks about them, nothing. And they're not worth as much as like Forerunners of the same era or Tundras or Tacos. I like doing weird stuff that nobody else does. Also, I'd like to do more just random stuff that I do, because I do a lot of crap, like a lot of stuff. And I'd like to share that. Let me know if you guys would be interested, because like I fly drones, mini bikes, one wheel. All right, what's next? What front lower control arms are you running? Totally stock. I have a video where I did the front bushings and that's it. My bushings were shot, so I did the bushings and they're totally stock control arms. I am saving up for a Mantis kit. I keep asking FDF on like every single one of their videos to make a Mega Mantis kit, because their Mantis kit right now just moves the tie rod and lower control arm points lower, but it uses the same old knuckle, and the knuckles on the SC are terrible because you have to press in the bearing. So if they could make like a CNC or welded, new knuckle for the SC that had a bolt-on bearing, that would be ideal. So go tell FDF to make a Mega Mantis kit. McDonald's order. I get 2 double cheeseburgers, no pickle, add mayo, large fries, and a large Sprite, no ice. That's my McDonald's order, every time. How long till we see how the car drives with the new Diff? So I do have, like I said, an LS430 Diff, and as soon as it gets like 40 degrees-ish, I'm gonna drop the rear subframe and I'm gonna do all the bushings that I have, all the solid bushings that I have. I'm gonna do all of those, and I'm gonna weld the LS430 Diff. So that'll be, as soon as it's like the snow melts and the car's drivable, because like what's the point of doing it now when I can't even compare the difference? Once the salt is gone off the roads and I can compare in one day, like what's it like driving with a 392 gear and what's it like driving with a 327, then that's when I'll do that. What made you decide to build a glorious SC400? Love the build, keep it up. 1UZ over everything else. So actually, I've shown it in a few videos, but this is my second SC. My first SC was also a 92 SC400. It was an old man tan or sandstone beige, whatever you want to call it. I called it old man tan, and it was an absolute piece of crap. I paid $2,000 for it, and it had 220,000 miles. It had rusty quarter panels, like in the wheel arches, completely rusted out. It had rust on the roof. The seats were torn. Yeah, it was a piece of shit car. And that was the first car that I bought myself with my own money. My first car that my parents got me was a Scion XB in 08, so I had a toaster. I love that thing, it was awesome. I still want to get another one and 1UZ swap it, turn it into a drag car. So that might be coming in the future for Ding Dong Drift as well, if you want to refer back to the old question. But yeah, the SC400 was the first car that I bought with my money, and I had to learn how to fix it because it was an absolute turd. Like everything broke on that car. And it was my daily, and I was in college and I was broke as hell. And one day in the summer, one of the spark plugs shot out of the head, like literally stripped the threads out of the head because I put regular gas in it. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. I put regular gas in it because I was too broke to put premium in it. And yeah, that was terrible. I fixed that, actually. I used, what are they called? Fixed that. And then the brake lines were so rusty that the brake lines popped. So that's when I was like, I'm done. So then I parted the car out and I got the blue IM, which I have now. Yeah, I know SCs pretty well because I've just had to fix them. It was my first car, I had to fix the shit out of it. So That's why when Sully came to me and he's like, let's build the drift car, I was like, we're getting an SC, because I didn't want to learn a new car as a drift car, because you know drift cars break, so I wanted to have a car that I knew well. I got an SC. So I knew it inside and out. Just starting my 3D printing adventure. What's a good source of info for a beginner? Oh man, there's so much 3D printing stuff. There's Maker's Muse, CNC Kitchen, 3D Printing Nerd. There's a German guy. What's his name? I'll link it all. I'll put up like a list or something, and I'll link it in the description for all the 3D printing resources. Matter Hackers has a lot of good write-ups. Prusa has a lot of good write-ups. But yeah, it's just all tinkering. Oh, there's one more. How did you get into 3D printing? So I got into 3D printing because of my job I had at Raw Thrills. So if you've been to the arcade and you've played, or like to the movie theater and you've played like Jurassic Park or Cruisin' or Terminator or the like giant Pac-Man games, those were all made by Raw Thrills, and I used to work there. I used to be a tester there. That was my first job out of college, and it was absolutely awful. They paid me like $12 an hour. And I had like $30,000 in school loans, and yeah, it was just awful. So they wanted to get into, because they made the cabinets themselves. They had to order foam to get CNC'd for prototyping, because when they were making the cabinets, they had to see how things fit and stuff. So for smaller pieces, they wanted to 3D print stuff because it would be way cheaper and way quicker. So they ordered a Lulzbot Test 6, and that's basically when I learned to 3D print stuff. Nobody else wanted to learn how to 3D print stuff, so I just did it because I'm a fucking nerd and I love to learn new stuff. So yeah, that's how I got into 3D printing. Actually, first they got a Robo 3D, and that thing was a piece of shit, and then they got a Lulzbot Test 6, and I bought the Robo 3D off of them, and my old printer that I was like this huge behemoth, that was the parts from the Robo 3D that I like repurposed into that giant printer, and then now I have the Prusa Mini, which is way better. And I have pre-ordered the Prusa XL, which is coming out, I think this summer or spring. So if you guys follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen that I've been working on this thing. So this is the new shifter, and once I make it, fully assemble it, you'll understand why it looks like this. But all the pieces are now finished, clear coated. They just need to be wet sanded and polished. You see they're not like perfectly flat, so I need to block sand these, polish them, and once that's done, I'll put the video out where I make this whole thing, because it was freaking awesome and I'm so happy how it turned out. So that's gonna wrap up this video, ding dongs. Thank you so much for watching. Got a lot of new stuff coming, especially when the weather gets nicer. It's gonna be a lot more content. So I'll just be making a bunch of random stuff for now, but once spring arrives, we're gonna get right back into the garage. I have the new welder, the bench grinder, the fabrication stuff is coming. And actually next week, I don't know if you guys remember, Patrick is buying an SC, and we're gonna have another SC on the channel, so that's gonna be fun. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you check out the merch. I really appreciate it when you guys buy that, and the side markers and shift knobs and all that stuff, it really helps me out. So the Black Friday sale that I did actually paid off the PDM on the SC, which was awesome. So you guys really help out in terms of me being able to actually do stuff to the car. So thank you so much. All right, ding dongs, I'll see you guys next week. Peace out.
America, beautiful. Do you have your passport? Did you get your job?